Theseus and the Minotaur, by Greek mythology. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. Long ago, Athens lived under a terrible shadow. Every 9 years, the city was required to send 14 of its young people, 7 men and 7 maidens, across the sea to the island of Crete. There, they were delivered into the labyrinth, a vast and bewildering maze built by the craftsman Daedalus, and left to wander until the beast within found them. That beast was the Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, born of a curse upon the royal house of King Minos. The tribute had been imposed years before, after the king's son died during athletic contests in Athens. Minos, commanding the most powerful fleet in the region, had forced Athens to submit to his terms rather than face destruction. As the third round of tribute drew near, grief and dread spread through the city. Into this despair came Theseus, son of King Aegeus. Raised in his mother's homeland of Treason, he had recently arrived in Athens and been recognized as the king's heir. When he learned what Athens owed to Crete, Theseus resolved to end it.
Father, I will go among the 14. I will enter the labyrinth and kill the Minotaur,
he told the king. Aegeus begged him to reconsider, but Theseus could not be moved. On the morning they sailed, the king pressed his own sword into his son's hands and placed a bundle of white sailcloth with the ship's stores. The vessel, like those before it, traveled under black sails as a sign of mourning.
Change them to white when you return. That way I will know you are alive before you ever reach the harbor,
Aegeus said. Theseus promised, and the ship left Athens. When they arrived at Knossos, King Minos received them coldly. The 14 Athenians were kept under guard for 3 days before they would be sent into the labyrinth. On the first night, a visitor came to Theseus in the dark. It was Ariadne, daughter of Minos. She had observed the young Athenians when they arrived and had noticed something different about Theseus, not resignation, but resolve.
I know you mean to fight the Minotaur. I can help you, but I have one condition. Take me with you when you sail from Crete. I cannot stay here after this,
she said quietly. Theseus agreed. Ariadne pressed a ball of thread into his hands.
Tie one end at the entrance of the labyrinth. Let it unwind as you go deeper. Follow it back when you are done.
On the third day, the bronze door of the labyrinth swung open before the Athenians. Theseus led his companions inside and secured the thread to a stone at the entrance. The maze closed around them, corridor after identical corridor, twisting back on itself without sky or landmarks, swallowing sound strangely so that the distant bellowing of the Minotaur seemed to come from every direction at once. When they reached a wide junction deep in the maze, Theseus left his companions to wait and went forward alone, the thread spooling out steadily behind him. In the heart of the labyrinth he found the Minotaur. The creature was enormous, part man, part bull, bred on years of solitude and fury, and it attacked without hesitation. Theseus met it with his father's sword. The fight was hard, but Theseus did not yield, and when it was over, the Minotaur lay dead on the stone floor. He followed the thread back through the winding dark to his companions, and together they made their way out. Ariadne had dealt with the guards, the door stood open and she was waiting. She led them to the harbor, and before dawn they were at sea. They stopped to rest on the island of Naxos. While the others slept, the gods moved in ways that none of them understood. Before morning, Theseus set sail without Ariadne and left her behind on the shore. When Ariadne woke, the ship was gone. She had given up everything, her home, her father's favor, her place in Crete, and now she stood alone on a foreign shore. But the god Dionysus came to her on Naxos, and took her as his bride. In time she was honored among the divine, and her grief was turned to something else entirely. Theseus sailed on toward Athens, his mind already full of his return. He forgot the black sails. King Aegeus had kept watch every day from a cliff above the sea. When the ship appeared on the horizon still draped in black, he did not wait for it to draw closer. Believing his son had perished in the labyrinth, he threw himself into the water below. Theseus returned to a city that was freed from the tribute, but mourning its king. He had faced the Minotaur without flinching, but a moment's forgetfulness had cost him his father. The sea that received Aegeus was called the Aegean from that day, carrying his name across centuries. Theseus took the throne of Athens. His story, the maze, the thread, the black sails, was told for generations, not only as a tale of heroism, but as a reminder that how a story ends is never entirely in the hero's hands.